What's going on, guys? Welcome to December's episode of Game of the Month, the show where we pick a game at random every month and we play it throughout the month and then we talk about it. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
And a quick reminder, we are moving into a new month. So our games for PlayStation Plus, for Plus Club, are Steep and Portal Knights. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of the month. End of January, the beginning of 2019. Holy shit. And we'll talk about it. Also, another quick reminder that we talked about Onrush and Soma yesterday. So if you missed that, go check that out for Plus Club. For December, we had a good conversation. And our game of the month is Final Fantasy XIV. We're going to be talking about that today. So, yeah, moving into a new month, though, we should probably pick our new game. Mm-hmm. Real quick reminder as well, we have Discord link down below. Talk to us anytime, all the time. And we are on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. You can listen to us there. And if you're listening to us, check us out on YouTube at Tasty Loot Gaming. Yeah, so before we talk about Final Fantasy XIV, for our game of the month, we have to pick a new one. And I have rolled a random number. And we're going to pick the new game of the month. Number's 23.
That makes it Stardew Valley.
Well, goddamn.
Pretty excited about that one myself.
I've been waiting for that one. I don't know if I'm excited, but I need to play it more.
It has
So
multiplayer
this
now.
will be well, I was actually, because that's been on the list for so fucking long that I was like, I hope when we get that, the multiplayer's out. So luckily it is out. We have so many fucking things on the list though that it's a pretty good chance all of those will come out. We'll get those later because you said that we had like 2 years
Over 2 years worth of games.
on
the
that
list,
fucking list. Yeah. So our game of the month will be Stardew Valley for January. That's an interesting one.
Spoiler alert, I like it.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'll like it as well. But and Chris will interact.
I will interact with it.
Yeah. Hopefully you do too. So yeah. Am I missing anything? I kind of fucked that. I kind of botched that with the
New system going to
Oh yeah,
2019.
that's what I forgot. So in 2019, we're gonna change something up a little bit for Game of the Month each month. We have a system already implemented this year that worked out pretty good, where randomly we could be picked to pick a game. I want to kind of make sure that all of us get a chance to pick something for sure. So what we're going to do is every 3 months, one of us will be locked in to pick a game. And on the 12th fourth quarter, we're going to let you guys pick our game. So it will go, what is that, March?
Was that March, June, September, and December?
Yeah, so in March, I'll be picking. Mm-hmm. And then, what was the other one? June will be Chris. September, Chevy. And then December will be you guys. We're still trying to figure out a good system on how to do that. Let us know in the comments what you think of that. But pretty much the gist of it will be you guys will let us know what games you want. We're going to go through it. Whatever gets the most talk, we'll probably put on a list, put it into a vote, whether it's in the video or in the chat things on YouTube that you can do, and we'll let you guys vote for it, and then we will play that in December. So I think there'll be a fair system, and everybody will get to pick something, and it'll be cool.
Yep.
So hopefully you guys are excited for that. I'm excited for that because I get to pick first. So I got to think about what we should be playing. So that kind of gives you time to kind of plan a game too.
Gives all of it, yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You get to pick the newest and hottest games though this year.
I'll probably like a week before we do it go, oh yeah, and then I have to think about it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the new system. Other than that, it's staying the same. Every month that we are not picking, we'll still be at random. So I won't be coming in and going, we're going to play fucking Final Fantasy XIV, which we played this month. So let's talk about it. In case you didn't get a chance to play it, Final Fantasy XIV is I was going to say the 14th Final Fantasy, but
That is not true.
there's a lot of Final Fantasies. A couple of them made a couple sequels.
They made them.
But it is the second MMO in the Final Fantasy universe or world or however you want to put that. And yeah, it's an MMO. It's a Final Fantasy game. It's pretty typical in most MMO ways, except for it does have some very specific to this game systems. One being that you can play any class with one character, which is really interesting. It also has a lot of weird ways to get experience and when I say weird, they're not bad. They're just different. And like, there's like random events that you can initiate with other people. There's the leva, whatever the fuck they're called.
Level quests, there's storyline missions, there's the deep dungeon system, there's the NPC system.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to earn EXP.
And the game thematically follows a lot of the Final Fantasy principles. You got chocobos, you got fucking visual aesthetics that very much look like Final Fantasy. You got a lot of character names that you see reoccurring in Final Fantasy games. Definitely feels like a Final Fantasy game, and it also emphasizes storytelling and almost a single player vibe, where it wants you to prioritize getting through the story versus leveling as fast as you can. So it's a very story oriented MMO. Did I cover it decently, or is there anything else I should add to that?
I mean, there's obviously a lot you could add to that,
Well,
but I think
that's
that
why
is,
I don't want to sit here and just fucking explain every little thing.
is it really the simplest way to put it? It is very much inspired by like World of Warcraft as far as like the way it plays, but it is, like Seth said, very Final Fantasy as well, and it because of that, it also has a lot of mini games and side systems and stuff like that to do, and it is story oriented. I mean, that's it. That's really kind of the main focus. So if you're looking to get in there, grind it out to 70 real fast and get into that end game, you're not gonna get there so fast unless you kind of buy your way in. So,
And you can be a cat boy, and I did, and you can be a short, wide-hipped little boy, which Keith did. Is it a little boy, or little girl? What do you pick?
I can't tell the difference,
What
man.
is that? Yeah, they're all the same. You want to be a little baby with big hips? You can do that. Grow a big old full mustache. And there's some big people and all sorts of shit. All right, so for transparency's sake, we've all played this quite a bit. Obviously, Chris and Chevy played it significantly more than I have. They are lifers. I play off and on. Yeah, so I think it's safe to say that we all dig it enough that we're paying monthly for it.
I hate this game.
Yeah. So just to kind of skip over, like, letting people know, like, well, you know what? I tried it out this month and I liked it, or I fucking hate this game. We should mostly just kind of go with what our experience this month was. What did we try to get knocked out? What do you like about this game? Because, like I said, we like it. And yeah, then we'll move into recommendations and grade it, which I'm actually really interested to hear what you guys have to say about that. Because to grade an MMO is an interesting thing, because it's ever evolving. So when you grade it, think about like the state of where it's
state
at.
of the game and what we played. So.
Yeah, definitely. So I want one of you two to go first. I'm scared.
I'll go first.
I don't want to talk about this game because I'm not an expert.
All right. So since we're kind of skipping over impressions for the most part, and just kind of talking about what we currently did, last I left off was right at the end of the storyline for Stormblood. So I hadn't quite finished it. So within this month, I have managed to catch up to the end of that storyline and all the patches up to date. So I am completely caught up storyline wise, and I have to say in that regard, the journey this expansion compared to last expansion wasn't as cool, but the patch content is really cool. So I am very much looking forward to patch 4.5, which comes out actually in like less than 2 weeks. So so yeah, looking forward to that, and seeing where the story's going, especially after the trailer for the new expansion. I did a little bit of crafting, not a whole lot this time. I did a lot of gathering, started doing some end game mining. For if you're new to Final Fantasy, most MMOs have a gathering. You know, you can mine, you can fish, you can do all that stuff. But in Final Fantasy, all the crafting and mining is a mini game system. So you don't just run up stuff and hit them and get random stuff. You literally get like this thing with percentages and how much you might get for a high quality version. And
Oh yeah.
So
Forgot about that.
I did a lot of mining, and the end game to that is essentially it really comes down to collectibles. I don't want to get too into it, but essentially there's certain items you need to get. You turn those in for a currency. You use that currency to buy the best, or one of the best. The other version is crafted. So so I did that a little bit. Kind of working on end game with my main character right now. I play samurai for the most part. I did level some other jobs as well this month. I've played a lot this month, so I've gotten quite a lot done. I started cleaning out my quest log because every time I take a break and come back, there's always a crap load of stuff that I miss out on, and I'm always playing catch up. I have stuff from 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. I'm just trying to get cleared out. So, overall, yeah, I mean, it's kept me busy pretty much all month. I mean, that's really kind of the end takeaway I can give without really babbling on about my every little minor experience I've had in the game. I have gotten a lot done though. It was a very productive month as far as MMO is concerned. So
yeah. I think I'll save what we like about the game until after we're all done talking about what we got done.
Okay.
Yeah, so I hopped back in and probably played the least out of everybody, but I did get some significant things for me done, which is kind of nice. My goal this month was to get out of the vanilla content, and I did that, so that's awesome. I got to see the end of the original story. I got to see the credits, so that's very cool because now I have a reason to move into the expansion, which I hear, the first expansion, which I hear everybody says the game gets better after the vanilla content. So, I mean, that's the case with most MMOs, but people are very have very strong opinions about that. So I'm excited because I already like the game to see how much better it gets. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, I've been playing my monk. Pretty much that's all I play. I've dabbled in a couple other classes, but mostly stick with the monk just because I'm really weird about I need to complete him before I even think about moving on to something else, even though I do have plans on, I want to use, what is it, the machinist? I want to try out that one, even though you said their DPS sucks or something.
Yeah, they're a topic of complaint right now.
I love complaints,
but MMOs are always a balance game anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that only is relevant for raiding, which is not something you'd be worrying about. So
yeah, but they look cool. So I want to try them out. But yeah, I bought a couple mounts, which was kind of cool for them because I got my money. But I also enjoy the mounts. I got a big ass whale that's got 2 seats. You can fucking cruise around with your boy or your girl, and there's wine all over it because whoever's fucking driving a flying whale is probably drunk. I know my guy is for sure, and. That I bought a fire horse, which is pretty cool looking too. I got them both fucking just on my macros. I can switch between them because I can't decide which one I like the best. But I still give Chocobo some love because fucking Chocobos are dope. I really want the fat Chocobo, especially because I'm
pretty sure you can get it now.
Fuck yeah! Because I just did the event, Final Fantasy XIV is relevant, event in Final Fantasy 15, a game I just beat. And in that event, there's a fat Chocobo. It's amazing in HD.
Yeah, it looks really crazy in that engine.
It's got just physics on its gut and shit. And I was like, fuck yeah. Also, Garuda looked really crazy in 15. But yeah, I feel like I had a productive month for me because a lot of times I just pay for a month, I dabble for a day, and then I fucking forget about it. Not at any fault to the game. I actually think Final Fantasy 14 is one of the best MMOs out there right now. It's me, so it's hard for me to stick to one thing. I hop 8 games a week, so as anyone who's trying to play a game with me knows, I got 3 people going hey, play this with me. I'm like, they want me to play that with them, and I'm playing this. I'm gonna play that. I'm all over the place. So yeah, I'm just happy that I had a goal. I fucking met it, knocked it out, and I plan on continuing next month and the month after. So. This isn't a one-off for me because I want to get into that content, especially since I bought that expansion. I need to get my money's worth. But overall, good month. It's fun. And it was cool chatting with some of you. I didn't really get to play with all of you guys, but there was people.
No, our work schedule kind of screws that up, though.
Yeah.
And somebody who I won't name bought the game, played for 5 minutes.
And then disappeared off the face of the earth.
To go play a different MMO.
Is he alive?
Yeah.
What MMO is he playing?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
What?
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you activate that and then go play that?
I don't know. It was a weird transition.
Yeah. All right, I bought a brand new MMO. Got some time. I'm gonna go play this MMO.
Yeah.
Good plan. I like your fucking tenacity. You got moxie, kid. Chris, how'd your month go in Final Fantasy XIV?
I don't know if I would call my month productive per se. I think I played the most time-wise out of everybody. The first 2/3 of the month, I did nothing but crafting, which is something I despised doing
Jesus.
previously.
Oh, I was gonna say, why'd you do it then?
This time, though, I found this weird little like enthusiasm to do it. How everything just kind of fits together. Like I got my carpenter crafting, and I got it to 50, and I got the finally finished the end level quest for it. And then I just started dabbling in everything, and kind of everything just kind of fits together so well. Like I can craft 8 of these items to fit to this item to make 12 of these items. You know, it just kind of clicked for me. It was something I could do idly while watching YouTube.
Mm.
And then the
Now you're
last
speaking my
third,
language.
that's what I was doing all day today. I was trying to play catch up on my ninja, which I'm trying to get to 70,
Mm-hmm.
and just doing the deep dungeon stuff. It's been fun. Although I did, I did level like 4 or 5 different classes as Chevy was yelling at me to finish one.
I was going to say, side note on Chris's playstyle in this game. In 2.0, he played a bard
Uh-huh.
and then did endgame stuff. And then Heaven's Ward came out, or 3.0, and he switched to ninja.
Uh-huh.
So he had to play catch up because they started 10 levels. I think, no, they started at 30. So
Yeah, they started at 30.
you had to get to 50 again.
Uh-huh.
And then get geared enough to actually start doing Heaven's Ward. So you were already behind me at that point. And then you played catch up and did that. And then Stormblood comes out. He's like, I'm going to play Dark Knight. And I'd do it all over again. And now he's fucking doing it again.
He's hopping around. He's getting all the flavors.
It's like when I played World of Warcraft. Every expansion, I played a new class. I like the variety.
I did that once because they said Samurai. And I was like, oh. Otherwise, Dragoon was my baby up until then. So
Yeah, I remember when you played that more often.
it's a blast. It's still, I think, I actually think it's a little more fun to play a Samurai. I just have I have to play Samurai. So
Yeah, that's the one thing about Monk. Like, I think they're fine, like the way they play, but they're also just kind of like meh.
you have to do a lot of dancing around with them. I honestly, thinking about it now, almost wish you would have played a different melee class to start with, because you kind of picked one that is probably one of the more attentive classes in the game. Not that it's like super hard or anything like that, and you can ignore the extra damage buffs by just.
Well, when I
staying with
first
spots,
started
so.
the game, I did all the dancing around, and I was like, fuck it, because things die anyway. So I just like, I don't even care. I don't even see people in dungeons or anything doing it, so I think people are just like, fuck it. It doesn't seem like it's that much of a huge difference.
No,
so.
but and once again, something that none of us are really worrying about. When you're in that raid situation, you're trying to squeeze out every little DPS you can because you got rage timers and stuff like that you have to get past. You do start doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and you
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, I don't either because I'm not doing that. I'm not doing end game.
Well, you picked a good DPS class because you don't gotta fucking move.
You know.
I don't have to move. It's funny though because Dragoon used to have to, and then they took it away.
Well, there's still one of them that requires, like, I think you have to be at the back side of them, but
Yeah, you stay behind the mob the whole time, but every
Yeah.
DPS should be doing that anyways. So
right.
anyway, sorry.
You should be. You should be sorry. That was uncalled for. Yeah. So Chris did a lot of crafting. I beat the vanilla content like a big boy. I'm a big boy now.
Now you have to beat the Vanilla Plus content and then get to Heaven's Ward.
I'm gonna kill the shit out of that vanilla plus.
It'll be a lot more fun.
What, the vanilla plus?
Oh yeah. From 2.0's ending on, they were actually getting to create everything versus fixing a broken game.
Yeah, yeah. Which I think is a fair point, because that they even made the game that we have now after the fucking absolute goddamn catastrophe that was the original Final Fantasy XIV. I remember playing that shit in beta and I was like, I don't like this.
I liked everything about it except for that
Visually it looked cool.
leveling was intentionally restricted because they didn't want the community to be separated too much. So like you had X amount of level quests you were allowed to do, and that was the only questing you could do, and you can only gain so many levels within a time period. They
remember that.
They had all these weird restrictions because they wanted. Their idea was, well, it'd make you switch from job to job, and you'd have to play everything, and the whole community couldn't like the person who stays home all day can't just fucking fly through the content. So
Yeah. I mean, like any MMO, there's always going to be that guy who gets the fucking max level like in a day or two. And let them do that. They're going to play with the other people who do that shit, and that's fine. And they're going to tell everybody, I got there in fucking 2 days. I'm like, well, congrats, man. Fucking the rest of us people with lives, fucking. I mean, they might have lives. Maybe they got superpowers. I don't know. But they might be as amazing as they think they are. But yeah, most of us are just kind of playing.
we should
when we got
consume the
time.
content at the rate that you wish to consume.
Yeah.
it,
So they shouldn't be trying to funnel everybody into the same way of playing, because that restricts certain people in the way they want to play, and they're not going to want to play it.
Yeah.
So you're just making it harder. So
Don't tell me how to live my cyber life.
Pretty much. I mean, even when I sit there, like I obviously don't have time to sit down and play an MMO, like in the sense where like I can schedule out a raid schedule and blah blah all that stuff. But I do, when I do sit down to play it, I will sit down and I'll just play all day. So, if I was all of a sudden told like, "Oh, you're done today," I'd be like, "Ooh, this was my plan today. What are you doing?"
yeah, I wouldn't be playing the game now if they kept that system. So I'm glad they got rid of it, because yeah, that wouldn't have worked for me. I can't play a game that's like, that's one of the reasons why I can't play like phone games typically, when they're like, oh, you gotta wait, but you could pay for that, because obviously that's the way it's set up. But at the point where everyone's like, you gotta wait, I'm like, man, I don't want to do that.
And I'm thrilled when I run out of energy and Brave Exodus. I'm like, yes, I can put it down.
Yeah, but you guys are like fucking addicted to that.
Wow, and yeah, my rank is so high that I have so much energy it takes all day.
Straight
I haven't made a
crackheads.
dime yet into it. I wouldn't say I'm addicted.
A lot of time into it.
I can't say the same. Anyways, you wanted
Briefly, what attracts you to Final Fantasy XIV? Because we already established that we like the game, because
Yeah.
we've been playing it longer than recently. So I'll go first, because I'm gonna have the least amount of things to say about it. One thing, or a couple things I like about Final Fantasy XIV a lot, and we'll move into recommendations after this, because it kind of is a segue to that. Is as MMOs go, and I've played pretty much every single one that exists. It really stands out on its own. It has a visual style that's definitely of its own. The only other game I can think of that is similar to it is Final Fantasy XI, although it's a more archaic, older version of this. But the systems that are in place are very much Final Fantasy XIV. They don't remind me of other games. So if you're looking for an MMO that feels like its own thing and not other games while still maintaining the MMO vibe, Final Fantasy XIV is that MMO. There's a couple other ones out there that have some unique systems, but Final Fantasy XIV really stands out for having a pacing to it that is, I think, more catered to people who like playing a Final Fantasy game or playing a story-driven game where they want to sit there and take in like a book content, and they don't want to be rushing through stuff. And I think it really kind of caters to that, while still welcoming people who just want to get in there and do dungeons and go kill shit for experience. But it's a really good looking game. Definitely one of the better looking MMOs. And it's a very flashy game, which I really appreciate. Some games just have a lot of effects going on, but all the effects in this all look really good, and have really good sound design. I always talk about that, obviously. One game I hate the sound of is, sorry, you don't have to hit the dislike button, get the mouse away from it. World of Warcraft. I literally wanted to kill somebody because their sound was up loud all night, every night when I lived with them, and it was just like a fucking flat plane of just 20 different sounds making noise all at the same time, and it just sounded like a hurricane was happening outside. Just fucking crazy shit. I'm just like, that's awful. So I appreciate that the sounds in Final Fantasy XIV are just like.
Unfortunately, like the part that I was doing today as an example, when you're in Eureka, which is like the end game right now, well, one of the versions of the end game you can do, there's so many people, it is just a mess. And so I actually do end up just turning it down when I'm in Eureka.
Yeah. Well, that's bound to happen anyway with a lot of stuff going on, but it's just, its sound design is better than a lot of other MMOs I've heard. And yeah, it just has a charm to it that you can only get from a Final Fantasy game, and the people, you know, who've been making Final Fantasy games. I'm sure people who have worked on this worked on prior ones. I know it's not the main team, but it still definitely carries that vibe, which is in my head seems like it'd be a really hard task to do, but they nailed it. And even though I kind of skipped over a lot of the storyline in the earlier part of the game, later in it, I kind of appreciated the amount of work they put into trying to tell a story.
That only gets better.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's good. I like the little chubby people. That's another plus to the game. And Chris fucking looks disgusted. I think most of the races in the game are pretty cool. Like I said, I just really like the aesthetic. I like the armors and everything about it visually. So it's a game. Like a lot of MMOs, if I don't like the way it looks, it's hard for me to stay in it because I don't want to look at anything in it. So it really matters. A lot of games, I'm like, graphics and visuals aren't that big a deal. It's definitely just a plus. But in an MMO, if I'm going to be spending a lot of time in that MMO, I gotta like the way my character looks, and I gotta like the way the world looks. If it's ugly as fuck and looks bizarre or something like that, I'm not going to want to stay there. So. Yeah, it has a very unique charm to it that I don't think other MMOs have. And there's of course other MMOs that have their own unique charm to it as well, but there's a lot of MMOs out there that are just kind of all the same thing, just have, you know, slightly different things to them. So
yeah. Okay. Actually, you know, a lot of what you said I agree with, and I actually want to just kind of echo some of that stuff. I think the visual style of the game is a huge draw for me in the game. It is a very beautiful game to look at.
Still,
yeah,
like obviously they're going to update it as an MMO, but it did come out a while ago too, and the earlier content still has a really smooth and crisp look to it.
Well, that's something they did really well in 11 as well. For years, that game, even though it would look older, I still think like the visual style was still very good looking, and I think the same will hold true for 14 as it gets older. It has a good visual style that I think lasts a long time. They put a lot of work into the models in the game, and whether that is armor or minions or mounts or the character models or monsters or whatever. So that really goes into that unique look. You look at some of the minions, you know, like the chubby little cat that you can get, and he's just this little blobby thing. But you look at him and he looks really simple, but you can tell like someone had to think about how to make him look cute and fat and simple at the same time. And like, it's just a really well done out design. And most of the stuff in the game is like that. I mean, like you brought up even the fat chocobo earlier.
I love him.
In other circumstances, if like before that I saw that, if you would have shown me a chocobo and been like, we should make a fat one, I'd be like, why would you do that to the chocobos?
Oh, dude, I would have been like, fucking please.
And then they did it, and I was like, oh, that's so not a chocobo anymore. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, it's so they have a good design team.
They got a good, cute, fat design team. They're like, all right, we need to fatten something else up. They're like, we're on it.
Also, I gotta give them props too. A lot of the minions and some of the armors and stuff like that are fan made, and they put them in the game. So that shows that they do care about the community.
Yeah.
They are getting free work out of it. I hate to word it that way, but that's true. But it's more involvement with the community, which I think is important as well. Yoshi P also is very good about that kind of stuff. He's the game director. He plays the game. You can run into him in the game when they do events and stuff. He'll be there playing with the people at like the fan fests and E3s and stuff like that. They do little challenges, and that'll unlock stuff for people just playing the game outside as well. So they're really good. They have a really good team, and I really hope they continue to be successful in that regard, because I do think they have something special there. And I think with people not so happy with a certain expansion that came out for another big MMO, we're getting a lot of refugees right now, and it is really nice to see the game.
I don't mean that.
It's really nice to see the game in a healthy state still. So, because that is kind of the big concern when it comes to MMOs.
Mm.
Other things, you know, that I like about the game, the story focus, I think is huge. I do get to participate in being the main character in this, you know, this grand storyline or storylines, because there are multiple. And then they're kind of like story element to have your friends play with you is hey, you have strong friends, you should bring them with you to help you on this thing type of thing. So I don't know, it's an easy explanation, but it at least makes sense for the game, which I really appreciate. Other than that, I mean, it's got a lot of content, and I don't just mean that in the regards of like I can get to the end of the game and grind it out, because every MMO does that. There's so many side things to do, and I think that is inherent of Final Fantasy as a brand, and it translated into the MMO. There's the Gold Saucer. There's and within that, there's the Chocobo Racing. There's the Triple Triad stuff. There's a thing called Lords of Verminion, which didn't go over well, but they tried something new with it at least. There's mini games in there. There's they're adding Mahjong, in the next patch that you can play in there. So they're constantly expanding that. It has its own reward system, and that is something you can literally do all day if you want to, and it has nothing to do with progressing your character. It's all just for fun or and collectibles, essentially. So
I like how I'm like short, fat people. Chris is like, ugh. And you're like Mahjong. He's like, yay. That's a man with priorities. Keep your short people away. Give me the Mahjong.
I also got to say, one system they have too that if you're interested in playing, you can actually play the trial version of this game and get, I believe, all jobs to 20 or 30. I can't remember. Never have to pay a dime. And when they implement the Mahjong, that'll be part of the free thing as well. So you can actually play that mini game without paying for the game as well. And if you like it and you get all that stuff started, you got the head start, you just activate the account and you've got this head start already. So
They came to play for free and they stayed for the Mahjong.
someone might. I think that's going to be very niche though.
It's such a great fucking mechanic they added.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to echo off of when you said visuals in combat and stuff like that, that's a huge appreciation as someone who has played a lot of MMOs as well and then played a lot of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, has changed over the years, and I can't speak for current WoW. But when I quit playing, a lot of the attack animations were the same for different moves.
That was always a big thing for me too in a lot of MMOs. Like I always appreciated ones that had cool looking moves, which is like so lame sounding, but because some people just don't care about that. But like in a lot of MMOs, man, they're just like and then they go whack and fucking there's a little like spark or a little fire.
Yeah, and your moves aren't like that in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Every move has a unique animation. I think there are little to no recycled animations, if I'm not mistaken. Minus maybe like all the jumps, for Dragoon are the same animation and stuff like that. But a lot of the moves
They
are.
each have their own effects to them, though. All the jumps.
Yeah, but I'm referring to just the animation itself without the effect, because I really appreciate that they even took the time to make the model move a different way for every move, because that is an unnecessary detail that doesn't make the game better. It just makes it more visually appealing, and I appreciate that. So,
Yeah, my guy pretty much looks like he's just kickboxing.
well, and Monk's actually a great example of that, because hand-to-hand combat is very movement oriented, and how boring would it be to watch a guy just literally go
And then every once in a while just kick.
and that'd be it, right?
Yeah.
You're doing all these flips and side kicks and like random, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it feels satisfying too. The sound effects sound really punchy. All pun intended.
So those are the big pluses for me. Other than that, it's an MMO, so it naturally has that hook, which I think all three of us can agree is something
To behold.
we enjoy.
Embrace it. Embrace the addiction. Chris, what can you add to that?
Well, I agree with everything you guys said before. But to add to it, two things that really draw me for this is the UI of the game and how it is completely at your disposal. By you can literally place anything in the UI anywhere you want to, resize it to whatever size you want to be, have more bars, have less bars. That's all built into the game. There's no third-party interface apps that you get for it. It's all built in already for it. It's really nice and it's really well done. The other thing is that professions feel like a class. They don't feel like a tacked on thing. Like in other games where, say you go up to mine, you just walk up to the node and sit there and smack the node over and over again. In this, they have abilities and skills that let you activate like higher chance of getting high quality
It's
out
like
of the
you're
list
fighting
of
the
like, 8
wall.
items.
Yeah.
You're pretty much you're pretty much fighting the ore to like, I want this, I'm gonna hit you here to get this and do this to get this better. It's so detailed and so intricate and so involved. That's what's really drawing for me, is that everything has a process to it. Everything is involving. It's not kind of like this idle fly here, hit this node, fly there, hit that node, fly there, hit that node. You have to think about it and process it and go through like, okay, if I want to get this, I got to activate these skills, but I only have this much energy to do it.
Yeah, and to do a profession in that game, like you're equipping like a whole new set of like armor or a different outfit,
Tools.
and stuff like that. So like you are kind of setting out to do that today. Like that's what I'm going to be doing. Like it is its own almost class of just crafting.
You can play the whole game as a crafter or gatherer as well. It has a progression system, a storyline, and an end game too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're not into killing things, I can't even think of another MMO that even offers that, to be honest. So
I can't either, really. Yeah, crafting's pretty, and not that everybody needs to do it, but crafting's pretty by the numbers in most games. So it's interesting that they're thinking about it in more of a single player RPG sense, in my opinion.
yeah, for sure.
Something that you would dive into if you're playing a game by yourself. Like, oh, I'm gonna fucking craft and get all the best shit. Yeah, so I agree with that 100%.
Music, everything has music. It's Final Fantasy, so even every mount will have a song to it and stuff
Hell
like
yeah.
that. I had to throw that in there because that's something else you don't see in anything other than Final Fantasy. So
Yeah, it's a very Final Fantasy thing. So I'm glad they kept that. Even when I've been playing the Shell 15 lately, and when you hop on a chocobo, it has its own song and all that shit, and everywhere you go has its own song going on for whatever the hell's going on. So it the whole time I was playing it, I was just more so because I've been playing both this month. I was thinking about 14 a lot and drawing a lot of comparisons to the two, a lot of parallels. I was like, that's really interesting that so much has translated over to an MMO like that. So, yeah. So we like the game, obviously. Let's move into recommendations. I'm gonna throw some softballs. If you like MMOs, you should probably try this out. It's one of the most popular MMOs out right now, alongside Guild Wars 2. So it's definitely popular. People are liking it, especially in a time where MMOs are kind of docile. They'll come back, but right now it's kind of like, it's not at its height as it once was. But the two biggest MMOs out right now, arguably, is this and Guild Wars 2. So a lot of people like it. You'll probably like it too if you like MMOs. Especially if you're looking for an MMO, you played them all like us, and you're just like, I need something, that has something to it. That keeps it unique. This is one to play. If you like Final Fantasy, I would also suggest playing this because it is a Final Fantasy game for sure. It's an MMO, but it's definitely a Final Fantasy game, and you can definitely play it as if you're playing a single-player Final Fantasy game. In fact, most time when I'm playing this game, I feel like I'm playing a single-player Final Fantasy game until I go and do a dungeon or something like that. So it's kind of like the game is what you want it to be, which is really nice. If you like JRPGs, I would suggest playing this. It has a JRPG feel to it. Like I said, even if you're not into playing multiplayer games, you don't have to. Or if you were interested in playing a JRPG with other people, you can do it in this game. Yeah, if you like any kind of online game, cooperative game where you play with friends, I think MMOs in general are a good bet for you. But this is one I would definitely recommend just because of the quality of it. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to people who really like fast-paced games or only play shooters or like games that you get shit every 5 seconds, because this game does have a pacing to it that I think is definitely intended and works really well, but you have to be in the mindset to play it if you're a person kind of like me who likes instant gratification in games.
Especially in the last year, when I've had a couple people, and obviously a lot of that was in the Discord, but even like one of our coworkers has expressed interest, and I have gotten in the habit now of saying it is very similar to World of Warcraft, except for it is very story focused. So you need to be aware that you are getting into potential situations where it's literally the game's going to tell you to. It's going to, hey, put some time aside. You're about to hit some cutscenes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, at the end of the game, there's fucking a lot of cutscenes. I was really really surprised by that.
So yeah, you can't be in a rush to play this game. Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to, I could recommend it to everybody, but I can't because there are people who are not going to be able to play this.
And the other thing I always have to tell people is this a PvE focus game.
Centric
it
game,
has
yeah.
PvP, but it is really kind of like a little niche group of people, even within its community, that even like it.
Which is, I think, a good way to recommend it, not recommend it to certain MMO players. If you are a person who typically likes to play a PvE centric MMO, or you join those type of servers, this game's built for you.
Yeah.
And if you're a person who's really into PvP, it's here, but it's not emphasized. There's other MMOs out there that are like the more PvP centric MMOs, and those would probably be for you. But you should still try this out. But if you're going in it for the PvP, it's probably not going to be for you.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know anyone who really talks about the PvP or anything. It's not ever even brought up. Like, nobody does it. So
I honestly can't add anything to that. I think you pretty much hit the market for this, because it is exactly what it is. And I don't think you're going to convince people who don't dabble in MMOs at this point to really get into it, unless it has that, oh, well, I want a single player experience. Well, that is there.
or if you're somebody who just really wants to play with your friends online.
Yeah.
Because there are some people I know who socially like to play games with people.
One MMOs are perfect for that.
Yeah.
I mean, most people I know who even dabbled in MMOs did it because someone they knew was into it. So,
Although I do think Final Fantasy XIV is one of the more complicated MMOs. I don't think it's a super complicated game, but as compared to other MMOs, there's MMOs out there where you can literally click a map and it'll just run to where you need to go.
No, 100%.
And there's other ones where they'll kill things for you. And then there's, the basics of like, talk to this person, go do the quest, come back and return it. And Final Fantasy has a lot of things, and a lot of things that unlock later. And not even like end game content. It's not like you play the game, then the end game.
Extra stuff.
There's like, you beat this part of the game and now new stuff. Like when you play a JRPG, like as you progress, new features pop up. Same thing happens in this. So there's a lot of shit. Every time I come back to it, I'm like, I got to remind myself of all the things in the fucking game, because there's a lot of systems, because it's a Japanese game and they really like to put systems in their games. So, and it really shows in this. So
for sure.
If you're someone who gets very overwhelmed, make sure you're playing with people who can explain things for you, or watch YouTube videos. Not to scare you off, but it's a more complicated
just
MMO.
pick a focus. Like, you don't have, like, all that other stuff's extra. Really, the main point of the game is to go through the story.
Yeah,
And that should
100%.
be the main focus. And once you're done with that, you can pick another objective to do with that.
Well, when I first started playing this version of 14, I went into it with the mindset of what most people would have in MMO, and just go, I gotta fucking grind out some levels.
I gotta catch up with my friends.
And then I get to points where it's like, oh, you need to do the story. You need to do the story. You gotta stop. You can't go here yet. You gotta do the story to progress. And I was like, that's the progression.
Yeah.
The leveling's kind of there for like some gear you get, but like even like moves and stuff unlock based off what you're doing in the world and not the leveling, which is something I had to rewire my brain. It's different in that aspect.
For sure.
But yeah, anything else you'd add to that in recommendations?
No, the other thing I was going to add was that it's a game geared more towards a complexity MMO. It's not like overwhelming, but it's a little more difficult than your standard MMO.
Yeah,
as far as
I would
like
agree.
buttons, controls, and combos and things like that.
Yeah, if somebody was just getting into MMOs, unless they knew us, I would say, yeah, hop into this. We can all help you out. But if they're like, I really want to get into an MMO, I'd probably send them towards WoW or a couple other games, because you'll be able to get into that easier, in my opinion. This game, if you weren't playing with anyone and you were like new to MMOs, you'd probably be like, I don't know what to fucking do, because it's a little deeper in its systems.
The only argument I have against that, it's not even against that. It's just a thing that I would argue is a good thing for more players, is the game has more avenues to actually play it. So you don't have to have a crazy PC. The game does play on console, and it plays with the PC players and vice versa.
That's a good one too. If you are a person interested in playing MMOs, or you like playing MMOs but you don't have a PC that can run MMOs, you can play this on your PS4 or your Xbox One, I believe. No,
just PS4.
Well, that's fucked.
That's
For some reason, I thought like this would be on everything. Yeah, that's a good recommendation. If you want to play a full-fledged MMO on console, this is probably the highest quality one you're going to get.
And you can use controller on PC, and you can use keyboard and mouse on PS4 to play the game. So there's no restriction to the hardware aspect or control aspect of playing the game. So
yeah, and the controller works just fine if you want to go that.
You can
that
do the
avenue.
whole content that way.
I've played it that way, so I have it on both. So even though now I have the expansion on the PC, so can't go back and play on PS4 for the extended content.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, Chris, why don't you grade it?
Oh me first.
Yeah.
This is not hard for me to grade. It's a little fanboyish of me, but I'm
yeah.
gonna give it an A. Final Fantasy content aside, as far as MMOs go, this is really well polished, in my opinion. Just graphically, sound, gameplay wise, story mode. It's just the peak for me right now as far as MMOs go, and it has been for a long time. It's just I'm more of a social player, so if no one else is playing, I don't play it. But it's just a solid A for me. It's so well done, and they keep adding more and more content. And they keep listening to the fans. Like they're adding blue mages, which people have been asking for a long time now. They just keep doing it so well.
Yeah. So it's an A. Chevy, I want to know yours now.
I don't grade games the same way Chris does.
Nope.
I always say I love this game to death. I've been playing it off and on since it came out. I'm gonna give it an A minus. I don't think it's a perfect game.
You made that sound bad. A minus is really good.
Well, I know, but like he'll say something bad and then give it a B. You know what I mean?
And then he'll apologize for giving it a B. It's like it's fine. I just didn't like it, but B. I'm like B's fine.
I'm objective. I try to be objective.
Yeah.
Well, and with that, like I said, I absolutely love this game. So yeah, it's an A minus for me. But I'm not only saying that because I love it. I'm saying it because I do think it is an mostly accessible game, and I think there are more than just MMO players that can get into this game, and they have done a very good job with content over the years. I think overall improving it. Now, obviously, with any MMO, there's going to be stuff they release that people go, "Well, I don't like that." That's fine. They have to experiment because if they don't, it's going to get stale. And people were kind of getting worried about that with Final Fantasy XIV because they've become very predictable in the way content releases. So it's good for them that they are throwing curveballs at us every once in a while because it does keep us on our toes. A good example was like with Eureka. I hated it at first. I was like, oh god, this is so dumb. And even though I do think it is a little too grindy, it is starting to grow on me because it's giving me that feeling that Final Fantasy XI gave me, which is you're kind of forced to play with people, and all of a sudden I'm having a social experience in this game. That the rest of the game, MMOs have become so casually designed at this point where like you can literally just stand in one spot and queue up for a bunch of stuff. You never have to like go and interact with people. This mode makes you interact with people, and so. You saw earlier today, there's some downtime. We're all waiting for a monster to spawn, and literally everyone got on their T-Rex mounts, and they're just bouncing around in a mosh pit all of a sudden.
I did see that.
And that's something I would not see if I was just hanging out in, the main city waiting for a dungeon to pop. So there's that part about it I like, and it gives me a sense of nostalgia, I guess. So
Every game can be social.
yeah.
Every game I play online, someone's like, "Babe, babe, babe." I'm like, "What'd you say?" They're like, "Fuck you." I'm like, oh, "Okay." And then I just go at them. It's very social.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Twitter.
Well, Twitter too. Twitter's very social for me. I mean, I'm talking like shooters.
Yeah, for sure. But and I don't know. I really appreciate that. And I think throughout the entire episode here, I've kind of explained all the things I like about it. So, A minus.
I'm gonna give it an A minus as well. I think it's one of the best MMOs that's out. Even though for me and my sensibilities, it can be a game that's difficult for me to sit down and play for multiple days on end. When I do sit down and play it, I do enjoy it. It is a game I have to be in the mood to play, but that is because of me and not the game. I think in every regard, the quality and the systems and what you're able to do in the game, the aesthetic, the characters, classes, all of that is done top notch. I can't think of, when I'm thinking about traditional MMOs, what do they offer? What does this offer? Well, I can't think of an MMO that does things better than this MMO. I would give it a higher grade, but as it stands and where I'm at, I don't know how I feel about it, like strongly in any regard. But A minus as in the quality of the game as a whole, as an MMO, it's not really rivaled by a whole lot of other games. So that really speaks to it, and people love playing it. The people who play it. And I always have fun playing it. So A minus, easy. I was thinking about giving it a B plus, but I can't just doesn't feel right to me because it's better than most MMOs. So I can't put it in a B. A lot of MMOs are in the B category, C category. It's better than most of them, so it has to be in the A's, and I feel comfortable with an A minus.
Agreed.
It's a very good MMO.
It is. It's one of the few, I think, that it's one of the only ones that's showing that it can get away with having a subscription. So.
I think that's good wording. I don't think any MMOs need to be charging for subscriptions nowadays, especially with a lot of companies showing that you don't need to. But they don't make it feel like that money's going to just their pockets. They definitely release new exciting stuff all the time.
So they have a very quick and steady update schedule.
And people are happy to pay for it. I don't hear people bitching about it. So they do get away with it, but not in like a shyster way.
Sure.
Just they offer a product that people are comfortable paying for that they support.
So and to kind of wrap that part up for me, I would say this month I definitely got let's see, one character, so it's $12.99 a month. I definitely got $12.99 worth of time and enjoyment this month, and
I played significantly less than you, and I feel like I got $12.99 worth of enjoyment. I mean, when I go to the gas station, I get fucking $12.99 of disappointment. I just get really wired.
So yeah, I think that the price is well worth the entertainment. I mean, a movie costs that, and
that's
it's 2
a month,
hours.
so yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of MMOs can get away with it nowadays.
No, and I think the important part of that was the scheduled, consistent and reliable updates to the game make that work. It's one reason MMOs kind of succeed or fail anyways too, because like Warframe, even though it's not technically MMO, definitely follows the same practices.
That's why I was very particular in saying traditional MMO, because the majority of people consider any online game where you're playing with multiple people in MMO nowadays. It's been that way forever. So, traditional MMOs, this is definitely in that category. What were we saying about the updates though?
They're just one of the few companies that have a free to play one that do regular updates. So
yeah, it's
though
impressive.
They have slowed down as the quality has gone up.
Well, they're making bigger things
They
now.
are.
And people are mixed on that, on how they feel about that. But I think for the most part, it's ambitious. So it's a free to play game, and they're doing big things.
Huge things.
But I think you nailed it with the regularity of the updates and the expected nature of the updates with Final Fantasy XIV is important when talking about paying for the game monthly still, because content's coming. It's not like you're waiting around and then finally they're like, okay, here's a chunk of content, and then like it releases and you're like, well, we don't know what's going to come next. And there's a lot of MMOs like that.
Yeah, and they do very similar to how Warframe does dev streams. They do a developer diary, I think they call it.
Something like that, yeah.
And they explain their plans for like the next, I don't know how many patches essentially. So, and they always are talking.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, if I'm going to pay for something monthly, I need constant communication with the person I'm giving money to every month. Otherwise, it feels
You're literally investing.
yeah,
So.
exactly. Yeah, you're investing in that game. I mean, that money is just going like, yeah, we like what you're doing.
Keep making it.
Keep doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Same thing with Warframe. That's why I never feel bad spending money in Warframe, because they just keep pumping out content. So I know that money's just going into the company to make better content. It's not like, well, this month we couldn't do anything, but I'm sure you understand. Like, no, I don't. You goddamn scam artist. Where's my money? Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say on it?
No.
So we got an A and 2 A minuses. So obviously we think highly of the game. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about this game? Have you played it? If you haven't played it, why haven't you played it? What are you waiting for? Chevy said there's a version you can play for free, which is cool.
Trial.
If you're not into MMOs, let me know why. Or if you have played other MMOs that keep you busy, which ones are those, and what do you like about those? And would you maybe try out Final Fantasy XIV? Does it sound interesting to you? What do you think about paying monthly for MMOs in 2019 as we move into it? And yeah, what would you grade Final Fantasy XIV? That's going to do it for this episode of Game of the Month and the last episode of this year. Yeah, that's a weird one. And with that, hopefully you guys have a happy new year. And thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Gaming. Check us out. Check me and Chris out on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word. That's me, Tasty_fruit, Chris. And hit the notification button. Know when we go live. You can watch my streams on this channel as well. I dual stream when I stream. And check us out on Discord. Link down below. Talk to us anytime, all the time. And you can listen to us. I'm going to slow this down this time. You can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. And if you want to watch us, check us out on YouTube at Tasty Gaming. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
And again, thank you guys so much for an awesome year. 2018 has been the best year for this channel, and I hope to see next year be even better. Hopefully, you guys have a good New Year's Eve into the New Year's. Be safe, and until next year, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.